The skipper, Koke, across midfield into Herrera, finding De Paul and into a defensive area with Jimenez before they look to try and build through United once more. First time really in the match that Atleti have had a control of the ball, just over 10 minutes gone, 0-0. And Koke shows himself to take it off the toes of Mandava. He will come back up towards the halfway line now with Lodi in a tight space there, and De Paul lays it off to Jimenez, who drops the shoulder to try and avoid the attentions of Ronaldo and goes back to Jan Oblak. And they'll start from a defensive area. They haven't got a big target man really at Atleti, so more likely to begin their moves from deep, and it's worked really neatly for them this time, although that pass from Griezmann wasn't as sympathetic as maybe it needed to be out wide. Delivery back to him then is slightly miscued as well, and United can clear away. Just felt there was more in that attack for Atleti, but they didn't utilise it.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen them really have a lot of space to run into. Griezmann's pass in the initial move is just a little bit sloppy, and it means that there's too much work for Llorente to do down that right-hand side, and then he tries to fizz one back into it to Griezmann, and actually in the end he's in so much space he could have just had it straight to feet and he would have had enough time to get a shot out, so they'll be disappointed there. It was the time for them to exploit the spaces, and with João Felix moving forward as well through the centre, and I think I saw Koke and Ren and Lodi coming on the left hand side. There was plenty of options for them.
The goals in the other Champions League game being played tonight: Ajax 0, Benfica 0, as Manchester United now come forward down the right, and a shot there has found its way wide. Not sure if that was saved by Oblak, whether it had just been miscued slightly by Elanga, but the man who scored in the first leg seemingly was in a prime position to go and hurt the visitors this evening. We'll get a glance at a replay in a moment, I'm sure, as United continue to hold possession high up the pitch. Maguire on the left now with Telles. Fernandes goes back to the halfway line, but that move really coming from nowhere.
Yeah, just sort of, like we say, it comes out of nowhere. There was that dangerous Atletico attack, and then I think United went forward. Atletico sort of switched off. Fernandes finds himself right inside the right-hand side of the 18-yard box, and then just manages to get it on the foot of Elanga. And we'll have to see a replay. I'm not really sure how it doesn't go in. He's so close to the goalkeeper. Looks like he gets a foot on it, and it's whether or not it's saved by Oblak or it's just glanced the inside of his boot and spread all the way across the goal and gone out for a goal kick. But the best opportunity we've seen from either team so far.
We're going to get a glance at it now. Fernandes with the ball. It comes off the forehead of Jan Oblak. Keeper didn't know much about it, but he was falling to his right-hand side, and rightly so. Anthony Elanga looks up to the skies and asks what's just happened.
Yeah, you'd think he's got to be putting that away, but really it's one of those where he's done everything he can. He's keeping it away from the keeper's hands. He's trying to get a bit of height on it, just trying to put it in the back of the net, and it just so happens that Jan Oblak's forehead has managed to stop it from going in the back of the net, and in the end, you've got to say it's good goalkeeping. He's put himself in the right position to get his body in the way. It doesn't matter how you save them as long as it doesn't go in.
Yeah, one of the world's best goalkeepers, and that is an incredible save by him. As the ball now comes forward to Elanga once again. He leaps well, but doesn't quite land for him. Cleared away by Jimenez. Elanga had scored the equaliser just 5 minutes after coming off the bench in the first leg tonight. Trusted to start for the Red Devils in this key tie back on home soil, as the Red Devils go down the left with Sancho, back through to Fred. And Maguire over the halfway line, happy to try and open up the play to the right, but his pass is not accurate enough, and that sees United lose all momentum. They are playing quite high, aren't they, United? We've seen Maguire over the halfway line quite regularly. Varane up there alongside him, maybe just feeling that Atleti aren't going to be making that gamble to try and break him behind.
Yeah, I think when you play against an Atletico Madrid team, you've got to make sure you're imposing yourself on them, because they're going to be happy to invite pressure, and the more men you push forward, the more players you put on that halfway line and further forward, the more opportunities there is to find one of those players as you go forward.
Shot from range there, tipped wide by De Gea. That was a puff out of the cheeks from the former Atleti stopper, as it was directed towards the top left by De Paul, who just chanced his arm really. I think ball fell to his feet, didn't have much else on. It's not nestling quite in the corner, but De Gea, I think, maybe was slightly flat-footed and surprised. A deflection, as we see from the replay as well, possibly catching him off guard.
Yeah, I think as the ball steps up to it, I don't think anyone's really expecting it to go anywhere that's going to trouble the goalkeeper. But in the end, that tiny little flick off Fred just takes it right towards the top corner, and De Gea does well to keep it out.
In comes the corner, glanced on at the near post and just goes beyond the back stick behind for a goal kick, although Atleti will argue, Savic leading those protests, that it's come off a United man last. Okay, the captain now having his say as well, but they are going to be a threat from set pieces. Atleti, they are a big side and one that need to be taken seriously. Yeah, he just never looked quite balanced, did he, or completely set the ball when he struck that, but as you say, it's the deflection that really does test De Gea, man who made his name with the side that he lines up against tonight before making the switch to Manchester United. Long forwards from the right boot of the Spaniard now, headed down by Ronaldo, nicely across to Fred, and a little bit of a scrap for possession as Fernandes and Griezmann have come together. Referee's got a bit more work to do here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Griezmann's gone down in a bit of a bundle. I think maybe what's happened is there's been a boot left up by Fernandes. I don't think it's on purpose at first glance. As we get a replay at it, the ball's up in the air, he's sort of trying to control it in the air. Griezmann jumps up to try and head it, and in the end jumps his knee into Fernandes' outstretched boot. I don't think it's a foul. Fernandes gets his foot on the ball, but the referee's forced into making a decision here, and I think just to settle the situation down, make sure Griezmann's okay is sort of the way to move forward from it, because I don't think he's done anything on purpose there.
Slavko Vincic is the man in the middle tonight for this clash, as United do now get us back rolling with 17.5 minutes played. Manchester United 0, Atleti 0 on the night, 1-1 on aggregate. Griezmann laying it off to Herrera, and forwards now to Koke, can stride into opposition territory before moving it out wide to Lodi. He tempted to chop in there on the left foot, but just seemed to lose the ball in the process. McTominay will guide it across the field now to find a little bit of space with it. We're getting rather congested on the United right. Sancho makes his movements infield. Did get the overlap from Tellers, but felt it wasn't the best route towards goal. Instead, he's found Ronaldo, who's shaped to shoot, now does work his way infield. So he's nudged off the ball there, but United retain it. Goes the cross, headed away as far as Dalot, chested down, volley in, and sliding there to stop it was Mandava, and it will agonisingly go behind.
Yeah, it came all from Ronaldo once more. Then he picks up that ball and he does everything to stay on his feet and manage to find a pass, and then when that ball does come back in, he's back on his feet to get in through to the box, try and get a head on it. In the end, it comes out to Dalot, who has 2 bites at the cherry, and neither of them are really good enough. But I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. He looks up for it, Diego Dalot, tonight. He looks like he's going to be the kind of player that's going to try and get on the board as much as he can, try and contribute in an attacking sense. And as we were saying just moments ago, when you play against an Atletico team that are happy to sit back, you need those fullbacks and those more defensive players to come and help the midfielders and the attacking players to create options when they are going forward.
Here they come down the left-hand side with Sancho. Ronaldo has decided to pull himself into that channel. Attempted the reverse ball for Sancho. Atleti, 2 money bodies back there this time round though. McTominay, starting from a central area, fizzes it into the feet of Tellez. Left for Sancho, seeing lots of it. And he spots Fred making the forward run. Lovely footwork from the Brazilian, but can't find a teammate then with the layoff. I mean, he is a Brazilian, but he's not often one that has a box of tricks about him.
No, that was absolutely magic from Fred. There was literally nowhere for him to go, and he sort of just ricocheted it off his back foot using his heel to beat his man. In the end, the pass and the decision once he'd got past his man wasn't good enough, but he's looked a different beast in the last few months, Fred. He's been very good for Man United this season after getting a lot of criticism since he signed, really, for big money, and he's looked very good in recent weeks and months, and that was a flash of brilliance from the Brazilian midfielder when he went forward then.
It's McTominay in a central area once more. Atleti have got everyone back behind the ball. João Felix is midway through his own half, offering a little bit of cover. Griezmann has made his way out to the right-hand side to slot in as an auxiliary sort of wing back, really, as Fernandes now goes into the box. He's gone down. He's asking for the penalty. The referee is being hounded by a couple of United players. Doesn't look as though he's made an on-field call here, but little finger to the ear suggests that they may be looking at this elsewhere.
Yeah, he's run forward to try and control the ball vintage. I think in the end, Ronaldo's tried to sort of get onto the right side of him and stick his foot out before Fernandes, and he actually goes through the legs of Fernandes and controls the ball, but I don't think he knows anything about the Man United midfielder, and actually I don't think he makes any contact with him until after he's got the ball. For me, it's not a penalty. I think the referee's made the correct decision on field, but like you say, it looks like it's going to be one of those that probably will be looked at by VAR.
Yeah, it's clumsy, but often you do get challenges like that in a box when a defender has got his eyes on the ball and the attacker will come from the blind side. But as you say, he does make full contact with the ball, somehow going through. Oh, maybe not actually. As the replay slowed down there, it looks as though it's come off the knee of Fernandes, and like you, on a couple of inspections, thought it was the toe end of Ronaldo, but it's instead the knee of Fernandes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I watched that about 5 times, and each time I thought it'd come off Ronaldo's foot, but in the end, it does come off Fernandes' knee. And even in the knowledge of that, I'm still not sold it's a penalty. I don't think he makes enough contact with the Portuguese midfielder. I don't think he does enough to bring him down. I think Fernandes is going up in the air. Fernandes is doing everything he can to get himself in the way of the defender to control the ball, and I think it would be a harsh one for Atletico to get that. And we've seen that the threshold for a penalty tends to be a lot more sensible and a lot of a higher bar in the Champions League compared to some of the officiating in the Premier League, and VAR have ruled it not to be a penalty as Atletico play out from the back here.
Yeah, we are back underway, back in the side today. Fernandes, he missed that Tottenham game through injury, has been ever present really once again for the Red Devils this season. Maybe not quite hitting the highs that he did last term on an individual basis, but I think that was always inevitable really, with his fellow Portuguese Ronaldo coming into the side, likely to take a bit of the shine off what he does in those midfield areas. McTominay has it now on the halfway line, out to Dalot and into Elanga. He's squared up immediately by Renan Lodi, and will go back through to Maguire just inside his own half, where he again has eyes further down the field to see if anything is starting to shape up. Still no goals in the other Champions League match. That is 0-0 on the night, 2-2 on aggregate between Ajax and Benfica. 0-0 in this one as well, Manchester United against Atletico Madrid on the night, 1-1 on aggregate. Red Devils trying to come down the right hand side, but Lodi will deal with that and finds touch, and it's the perfect opportunity then for me to hand over for the rest of this half to Josh.
Thanks, Bobby. It's been an interesting first half, but sort of what we expected. Man United being the dominant team on the ball, as they have it now in McTominay just on the edge of the area. He finds Fernandes, who tries to shake off the attention of 3 or 4 Atletico players, and they end up winning the ball. He goes down Fernandes, but not deemed to have been a free kick. And now João Felix, he looked dangerous. McTominay drags him down, and that is deemed to be a free kick by the referee, and it's just inside Manchester United's half. An opportunity for them if they do want to use that height that you mentioned earlier, Bobby, to try and put a few players in the box and loft a ball through to them, but it is just inside Manchester United's half, so maybe just a chance to calm things down and keep hold of the ball for a little bit.
Yeah, it's clumsy play, isn't it, I think, from McTominay, but it's in an area where it's not too threatening potential for that long ball to go into the box. But United playing a high line here, they're giving David De Gea every opportunity to maybe try and come and collect it.
Yeah, they're taking it short, but then to just play the ball through, and it's fallen to Griezmann as it was headed away by Varane, and then away once more by McTominay as Atletico try and push their way forward, and it's gone straight through to the back to Ronaldo. He'll just then pass it back to his goalkeeper Jan Oblak. Oblak will play it out, and Atletico just holding the ball at the back, and they're playing a long ball over the top there towards João Felix, who was making a great run in behind, but in the end it went all the way from Savic through to De Gea, and Man United have an opportunity to attack now. The game seemingly opening up a little bit on the left hand side. Tellez, little 1-2 with Sancho, plays it back to Fred. Fred's got McTominay on his right. McTominay straight back to the Brazilian, who then passes it across to Dalot. He lets fire, and it's straight into the arms of Jan Oblak. But once again, it's Diego Dalot getting in those positions, trying himself to make things happen from the right back position.
Yeah, he's just coming onto that inside channel, isn't he? Allowed Elanga to go further wide, and he could have maybe played that ball into Elanga, who was completely unmarked there. He wouldn't have been in on goal initially, but possibly could have made further ground, but they sort of toed and fro, didn't they, across the edge of the box. 2 or 3 players exchanging passes, no one really able to get that angle for a shot until it fell to Dalot. But they're definitely knocking on the door, I think, United. Still room for improvement, but they'll be pleased with how the game's starting to develop.
Yeah, with just 26 minutes played in this game, still 0-0, 1-1 on aggregate in this Champions League tie. And I think maybe Ralf Rangnick might be a bit disappointed with Dalot for shooting there. When you're early on in a game against Atletico Madrid, maybe patience is the best way to go. Try and find the clear-cut opportunity instead of going from distance. Save that for a little later on, as Fred holds the ball inside the semicircle, does well to shake off the attention of De Paul, and then Savic brings down Cristiano Ronaldo just inside the Atletico Madrid half for a free kick, and it's Ronaldo's quick feet that's too much for the centre-back, who just taps him on the calf, but it's enough to bring the Portuguese and now FIFA world record goal-scoring attacker to the ground, and he doesn't look happy with it. He doesn't look happy with most things when he gets brought to the ground, Cristiano Ronaldo, but he shakes his head and walks away. I'm sure those expressions will change when he gets his chance at some point inevitably in this game to show why he is the record goal scorer. And they're sending quite a few men forward here, Man United, as they have the ball about 40 yards out. They played it short to Dalot. He then drifts the ball in, aiming for Harry Maguire, who goes down in the box, and he goes down next to Ronaldo, and it looks like it could have been 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and in the end the referee gives the free kick to Atletico Madrid and deems that it's Harry Maguire that's made the foul against the Atletico centre-back.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was maybe hands of Maguire on the back of Ronaldo, and Maguire then maybe falling over the defender as he fell to the ground in turn. Just all a little bit scrappy, wasn't it? And Maguire needs to just be a bit more patient in those areas. The ball was a decent one towards the far post. Just try and time those runs slightly better so he can go and attack it rather than getting tangled up with the defenders. He's a big lad anyway, doesn't need to impose himself too early.
No, he scored plenty of headers for England in his time. If you could just translate that onto the pitch for Man United, I'm sure he'd be having a better season than he's been deemed to have had so far. And lovely little bit of skill with a back heel from Fred once more. He gives it to Fernandes, who then puts it wide to Jadon Sancho. He's got too many men to try and take on, tries to do it all himself, and then in the end loses the ball to Herrera, who now has it once more. He loses the ball straight away though to Scott McTominay, who spreads it wide to Fernandes. Fernandes trying to play it in off his left foot, and in the end Savic puts it out for a corner for Manchester United, as Bruno Fernandes, we can see on his pictures, is trying to jeer up the crowd at Old Trafford. He's making sure that they're behind them on this Champions League evening, something that's been so important in the history of Manchester United, and something that's going to hold even more important even more importance this season as they look to struggle to be staying in those top 4 spots. It's Alex Telles who will take the corner on the far side, as the referees just warning Llorente and Savic, as well as Varane and Maguire, to just calm down, as there's a bit of tussling going on in the box. It all looks a bit heated in and around the edge of the area. Telles yet to take the corner. It will be a out-swinging corner from the left-footed fullback, and he does take it. It floats in the middle, and it's Maguire that tries to get his head to it, and once again it's deemed to be a free kick that Maguire has caused, as Jimenez falls to the ground clutching his face.
Yeah, I think this time he did seem to time it a little bit better, but as he arrived, maybe the defender just got his head to it slightly before Jimenez, I should say, rather than the defender. And Maguire then lands with his forehead on the side of the Atleti man. But it was a decent delivery, and once again a real inviting one for Maguire to try and go and attack. Refreshing to see that this time they did put the ball in on the full rather than last time when they took it quickly and nothing really came of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure that's a free kick from Maguire. I think he's just tried to head the ball, and at the end he's accidentally headed Jimenez's head.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things that tends to happen in the box. I think if the referee had stopped the game maybe for a fear of a head injury, I'd understand it a bit more than a free kick, but that's twice now Maguire being punished, as Atletico try and play the ball forward, but it's a bit of a percentage ball, and it ends up in the hands of De Gea, who passes it out with his hands nice and quickly to Telles. Tries to play a ball over the top to Jadon Sancho, but he's not anywhere near that pass in the end, and Atletico have the ball back. They give it away straight away though to Harry Maguire, and it's all a little bit messy in the middle of the park. I think most of the game's being played by Manchester United, and Atletico struggling to hold the ball in the middle as they do come forward. Now though, with João Felix, plays a 1-2 off Koke, and in the end he couldn't quite find Koke once again, and Man United will come forward again, and it's Jadon Sancho, cuts inside with a lovely little feint. He then loses the ball on the left hand side. Renan Lodi cuts inside, he's then tackled by Diego Dallo. Fred now playing a lovely ball through towards Fernandez, but in the end it's Ronaldo once more who manages to just boot the ball up the field, and João Felix will chase it down, but a calm head of Rafael Varane will knock it down to Harry Maguire, his captain, and United will try and go forward is what I was going to say, but Alex Telles has slipped on the ball and it's been pinched off him by Griezmann, and they'll try and spread this wide once more to a fantastic touch down by Renan Lodi, and he's going to whip the ball in, but there's too much height, too much distance on it, and in the end it's easy for David De Gea to just pluck out of the air.
Yeah, they're just lacking that little spark, aren't they, I think, Atleti, when they do get it. They're being pressed well by Manchester United in those midfield areas. We saw a few short passes and then they tried to spray it, but it's all a little bit edgy from the visitors, and finally then they look for that killer ball into the box that just hasn't been there for them so far tonight. That's not to say that it won't be at some point. There is quality in this side, and as you mentioned before, Felix and Griezmann can cut apart any team if they get the opportunity. So United
to those attacking talents in João Felix and Antoine Griezmann tonight.
Then extra time ending 0-0 and taking the lottery of penalties. He's
fantastic miss. He's offside in the end. Oh, I thought they just managed to pinch the ball back in the midfield to put it in the back of the net. I thought that looked...
This is the offside when Koke laid it off.
Right hand side from that initial pass, but definitely one of passing play from Atletico, and it does show like what we've seen a bit of so far.
Yeah, exactly that, and some, but Diego games and making sure that you get to the end goal of silverware.
It'll go straight back to if they play this kind of fantastic achievement, because it's a hard football to play for them to have an advantage in these sorts of times. Defence tries to backheel it to Dallo, and in the end it's deemed to have just gone out, and the linesman will point for a throw-in for Atletico just towards their own 18-yard box on this near side, and it will be Reinildo who will take it. Play slowing down after that Atletico offside goal that's been ruled out, but they did look dangerous, and it will just be a bit of a warning marker for Manchester United going into the rest of this game as to what that front four can do when they get forward for Atletico. And ball tried to be played through by Fernandes towards Sancho. It's cleared away by Llorente, but Sancho manages to get on the end of it. He's got an overlapping run of Tellez if he decides to use him. In the end, he tries to take on three players himself and just loses the ball, and Atletico win it back, and Ronaldo's the one who then has to slide through to prevent a counter-attack from Antoine Griezmann, but probably the wrong option there from Jadon Sancho on the left-hand side for Manchester United.
Yeah, just took on a little bit too much, didn't he? He was trying to drive infield. If he'd held his run a little bit longer, then he had that overlap to try and lay it off. I think that has been one of the criticisms of him since he made the move to United. His decision-making hasn't been fantastic at Dortmund. It always seemed to be the right call from him. Was involved in so many goals, scoring and assisting there. Now, I think we're starting to see definitely signs of improvement from Sancho. Ralf Rangnick's been talking about that over the last few weeks, chipping in with more goals and getting assists, but he's still just got to iron out a few little bits. Of course, this is his first season as a Premier League player. We know he's an Englishman by birth, but he spent his younger senior years over in Germany adapting to the Bundesliga, and then it is a very difficult period to come back and try and get yourself used to what the Premier League demands of you with the physicality.
Yeah, definitely seeing a little bit more of the Borussia Dortmund Jadon Sancho since he's moved to Manchester United in the most recent weeks. He scored that goal against Manchester City, the equaliser. Of course, they did go on to lose 4-1, so not quite what they would have wanted from it, but for a moment they looked like they might have been in that game, and he was a big part of that, and he's becoming an important player for them, and he'll be important for them tonight if they want to try and break down that tight, well-drilled Atletico defence. As Atletico play a throw-in forward through Reinildo here, and in the end it's gone straight out off a Manchester United player, and they'll get another throw in just further, about 15 yards further down the line, and they'll be happy to make up those yards and try and get a few more bodies towards the box. As 38 minutes have been played in this game, it still remains 0-0. That's 1-1 on aggregate, no away goals as Bobby mentioned earlier, which means it's at the moment heading towards extra time and penalties, but still obviously plenty of time to play. Jimenez stops the counter-attack from Manchester United, and it'll be Reinildo on the left-hand side playing it off to João Felix, who just tries to pop it over to Koke, and Scott McTominay with his usual no-nonsense approach to defending just gets that ball out and allows Manchester United to reset themselves for another Atletico Madrid throw-in on this near side, and once again it'll be Reinildo who will take it. One or two players moving off the ball. In the end it's Koke that does win it, but he just hits it straight at McTominay, and once again no nonsense, it's straight out by Scott McTominay.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you need sometimes, isn't it, from your covering man there. Just get rid and make sure that there's no room to really build any further. Atleti just lacking any cutting edge once they had those succession of throw-ins. You feel that you need to stop building and maybe get out of that congested space, try and find some room to play in, but they were happy to try and just grind and bulldoze their way forward. Doesn't work out for them.
Yeah, and have the ball on the other side now with Llorente on the far side of our pitch, as Griezmann then trying to play a little 1-2 with him. In the end it's blocked off by Tellez, and it'll be a throw-in on that other side that Griezmann will take quickly across to Herrera. A long ball trying to be played across to Renan Lodi, but he couldn't quite keep it in play from that pass from Savic, and Alanga's got a chance to run down the right hand wing here, and he's got so much pace, and he's beaten two men, and then he's brought down to the ground at the end by Reinildo, and well, the referees deemed it not to be a free kick, but it looked to me like he was dragged down the Swedish winger there, and Atletico will have a chance to attack here. And it's maybe one of those decisions where when a team has a reputation of being a physical team the same way Atletico do, it can affect how a referee does officiate a game, and maybe he lets a few things go for them because they're known as being a more physical team. For me, that certainly looked like it was going to be a free kick, but now an opportunity for João Felix as he tries to play a little back heel to Griezmann. They're both inside the area. Griezmann shifts it on his right hand foot, and in the end it's gone in. It's 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. A fantastic right-footed cross from Griezmann, and Renan Lodi was waiting at the back post to nod it in past David De Gea. Not much the goalkeeper knew about it in the end. He's headed it straight down as you taught to do, and it goes in the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the goalkeeper. It's 1-0 Atletico.
Yeah, they had ample opportunity to deal with Renan Lodi there, Manchester United, and no one took a blind bit of notice of him. When that ball initially went out to João Felix, he could have delivered it to the far post when Lodi was unmarked, but he decided to take the more difficult route. He backheeled it into a teammate, then the cross eventually comes. Lodi's still unmarked, and he heads in. I think they are looking at this to see whether it should be pulled back maybe for a foul on Elanga, but if you look at the move here, initially opening up, he's got his arm up asking for it, he was ignored, still no one notices him, and then he arrives on it with his head and gets Atleti ahead.
Yeah, and it's his name again, Diego Dallo. He's one that's just completely out of position. He's got no idea that Renan Lodi is behind him, and in the end he's got to come all the way about 5 yards across to try and defend it, and you're never going to win a header when you've got to have that much movement involved in it. But Harry Maguire and plenty of the other Manchester United players right in the face of Slavko Vincic. They're not happy with the fact that it wasn't given as a free kick earlier on Elanga. We both said it looked like it probably was a foul, but on second viewing there's just a little
are going to be considered sooner rather than later by Ralf Rangnick. I expect round about the hour mark is when he will be looking to that bench, especially if they haven't found a route back into the game by then. Sancho looking to try and ensure they do as he goes infield to Fred, a left-footed lash, and it's dragged wide of the right post.
Yeah, he's just pulled it there, Fred. In the end, it probably wasn't the best decision. He holds his hand up to apologise to his teammates. He has got plenty of space to get a shot away, but lots of options as well to his right-hand side. He does apologise, but yeah, just pulled it wide of the post. Elanga was coming in at that far post, and actually, if there was a little bit less power on it, the Swedish winger might have been able to get on the end of it and poke it home, but certainly wasn't the intended location from the Brazilian midfielder.
Black. The right-footed clearance away over the halfway line. Wyatt commands his own half there as he heads clear and deals with the danger just for now. Out to Diego Simeone, who holds the ball in his hand, waiting for Llorente to come across. But it's these types of situations that Atleti will take make the most of the longer the game goes on, the longer that they hold on to the advantage. McTominay has it infield, seeking out Fred. Out of defence came Savic, and it's really well Jimenez rather, and really well timed to intercept, although De Paul's pass forward has been intercepted by the United centre-back Maguire in turn. That's good footwork from Sancho, but then he's unable to pick out Fred, and it's Atleti who have it in opposition territory, just working it back into their own half briefly, across to the left-hand side of that back three with Ronaldo, forwards to Herrera, laid into Jimenez. As he's head up looking for options, he felt that Griezmann was one, but wasn't able to take it cleanly, and they're forced back into their own half, just enjoying a period of possession. And United are the team now having to try and go on the hunt to win it back. Lunge forward, seeking out goalscorer Lodi. I think he just strayed offside there, got the wrong side of Diogo Dalot. United have possession back. We see shots of Cavani down on the touchline as well. I mean, there's no shortage of options tonight for Ralf Rangnick.
No, absolutely not. Especially if they're wanting to sort of unlock that low block from Atletico. You know, the likes of Rashford, Lingard, Pogba, Cavani. There's goal scorers on that bench and players that can come on and make a difference. They're not a team, and no one's denying this. They're not a team that isn't stacked with plenty of talent. It's just the fact that they don't seem to have any sort of cohesive way of putting it together and giving the performance that you would expect from this level of and calibre of player.
Tellers down the left, laid off to Sancho, trying to get the better of Llorente. Besides, the best option instead is to move it infield through Fred to Ronaldo, and now Elanga laid off to Dalot in that channel that he was found in several occasions in the first half, but he's cross-blocked and charged down by Herrera. United have to recycle and begin again from midway through the Atleti half. Across to Maguire, squared to Varane. Both the United centre-backs over the halfway line, trying to compress the play as much as possible. In goes the cross, high and hanging, but that's not really useful to anyone but a Black, who comes and collects. And Ronaldo putting a bit of a frustrated figure there. He's extremely useful in the air, but there's been no service for him tonight.
Yeah, he's one of those players. We saw it at the weekend when he scored this hat-trick goal against Tottenham. He can use his head better than anyone really in world football, especially for an attacker. He's so impressive in the air, but if the balls aren't coming in any sort of position where he can get his head on it, if they're too high, if they're too low, if they're not the right way, then he's going to struggle to do anything with it. You can't just lump it in and expect him to work his magic every time. And there's options. What's so frustrating, and I think would be frustrating for a Man United fan, and even just as a neutral watching this, is that there are ways that they can utilise the players they have on the pitch today to come away and score goals and dominate this game and cause problems for Atletico, but they just don't seem to be able to put together the passages of play and utilise those players they have to create those problems for Atletico.
Looking to cause a problem or two here, although they've been forced back again by the tight shape presented from Atleti. It's Varane to Dalot, now Ronaldo, who several occasions has pulled into wide channels tonight. Not really where they would want to see him. Much better within the width of the goal frame if he is going to score with his head tonight and really cause problems for Atleti. He's complaining again that he was fouled, but play continues with United anyway. It's down the left now with Sancho, foot in from Griezmann, who felt that there might have been a nick there off Sancho. The referee doesn't agree, so the throw taken quickly by Telles. Sancho considered utilising him on the overlap, but instead goes back to Maguire. Infield now for McTominay. Dalot further wide of him, but he comes back left and works it to Sancho, only lends him the ball for a moment. Now Telles, they just can't find a way to probe and penetrate at the moment, Manchester United. Maguire, 5-yard ball to McTominay, that's a bit more positive, out to Elanga, who gets it down the line for Dalot, needs to provide quality with the cross, it's deep to Sancho with a volley, and it's behind for the goal kick.
Well, it would have been a special goal if he did manage to get that on target, Jadon Sancho. He does well to keep it as far down as he does, but it does blaze over in the end. The ball over from Dalot is so high, it's looping right over. He's got plenty of time to look down on it, the English winger, and God, it's a fantastic effort. He just gets over it, does well to keep it down. Like I say, many players would be booting that right over the bar, but it's only gone sort of 1 foot over or so, and it just blazes over the top left-hand side of the goalkeeper's side, and they've finally cut out an opportunity, but it has to come in the form of that long ball over the top once again.
Just seen some discussion there on the bench. Ralph Rangnick and his backroom staff, maybe the changes getting closer. We are almost at the hour mark. Still Manchester United 0, Atleti 1. Second goal for the Spaniards would be maybe a killer blow tonight. United have created some chances, but not really that have tested Yana Black since that Anthony Elanga effort early on in the game when it came off ahead of the goalkeeper. Here is Sancho down the left, but he's crowded out by a combination of Herrera and Llorente. They've come with a real good defensive mindset tonight, Atleti, that back five and 3 midfielders that can all drop in and provide an added bit of protection as well. It's the back five that actually aided them in terms of the goal as well, the wing back creeping forward and the players making runs to drag United defenders out of position and open up the space, so it's worked well for them on both fronts. Here is Felix now out to the right hand side, trying to evade the attentions of Varane. Attempted a trick to get away from him and then went down a little bit too cheaply. Portuguese will pick himself back up as play continues around him. United get it across to their Portuguese man in Fernandes, and now Ronaldo. Fernandes has continued his run but needs to halt as Ronaldo pretty much run into that space. Through to McTominay and out wide for Brazilian Telles. Again, the blue walls are there in front of them. Fred to Fernandes. They just seem reluctant to put the ball into the box when they do get into those wide positions. It's all with a Sancho effort what can happen if delivery is right. The move breaks down now as they potentially just overplayed it there, United. And it's Griezmann carrying up towards the halfway line. Laid off for Koke. Now it opens up on the left for Lodi, the goal scorer. Felix and Griezmann both making runs in and around the box just beyond Felix. He'll come to the right hand side with Llorente. 4 waiting in the box, and he looks for the cutback. Blocked away for the corner, and they just pose more threat there at Atleti than United do going the other way.
Yeah, they get it all right when they come forward. The first sort of 5 minutes of the first half, they didn't seem to have that glue. They didn't seem to manage to find the right pass. But since then, they've been fantastic when they do get those opportunities. And the pass through the lines to Lodi is fantastic. And then he does absolutely everything he needs to do to just fizz it across the face of goal, far enough away from De Gea that he knows he can't come out. And if João Felix is just, a couple inches further forward, he gets his foot on the end of that, and it's 2-0 and probably game over. But they look so dangerous when they do have that counter-attack, and they sat back for so long. It's just the Simeone way of playing.
The ball with the corner and headed over the bar by the rising defender Jimenez, and unable to test David De Gea this time around, but putting it into a quality area at least for someone to be able to go and attack.
Yeah, he's done well to glance it towards the far post, but in the end doesn't quite get the context he wants. It just goes straight down the middle and straight over the top. But Rafael Varane flat-footed as Jimenez climbed over him to find that header, and I think that'll be something that Ralph Rangnick won't be happy with when you know that you've got to try and just keep it at 1-0 at the moment and get yourself back into the game. Make sure you're doing the small things like defending corners right and not letting this game completely slip out of your grasp.
Varane on the halfway line. Time on the ball, finds Scott McTominay. Come across to the left with Sancho. Fernandes on the inside channel. Picks up possession, back out wide for Tellez. Fernandez just a yard or so ahead of him. Tries to drive infield, but he's stopped by Griezmann, who's working hard defensively, and Felix can pick it up just shy of the halfway line. Lodi bursting forward down that left to try and stretch United a little bit more and force them back towards their own goal. It has been a goal in our feature championship game tonight. West Brom maybe about to pull off a little bit of a shock as they lead Fulham by 1-0, and it's Callum Robinson who has found the back of the net there at the Hawthorn. Still no goals in the other Champions League game. Ajax 0, Benfica 0. That one maybe heading for extra time the way it stands. This one of course still could go that way if United can find an equaliser. Here they come with Sancho. Llorente again gets a foot in and he's defended really well, hasn't he, tonight, Llorente?
Yeah, he's done really well down there, and I think just moments ago that attack from Atletico didn't really come to anything, but it was a perfect example of why Simeone will be so happy and what he requires from his players. Antoine Griezmann, who's known as a goal scorer and a creator, was back towards his own 18-yard box and made a sliding tackle to start a counter-attack from Atletico Madrid as he just tries to win the ball back here again. It's just the way that they defend as a team and the positions they occupy to block any sort of channel, any sort of pass through the lines from Manchester United is so impressive.
Position, just over 64.5 played. Manchester United 0, Atletico Madrid 1. Tellez is one of the candidates over the top of it, and I imagine Bruno Fernandes will also offer his services up as well. So they have got the right and left-footed options to swing this one into the box. Several targets to aim for: Maguire, McTominay, Ronaldo and Varane all inside the area. Ronaldo just pulling off to the edge of the box to have a discussion with Fred, who had just left the area where the ball has been placed down, so there's clearly a message that's been passed on of what they want him to do in terms of movement here. Fernandes is the one over the top of it. As Tellez has walked away. Ronaldo's trying to make some ground at the far post, but he's been wrestled by Savic. The referee is going to go and have a word with Savic initially, who said it's Ronaldo you should be speaking to, and both want to pass the blame onto one another. I'm sure that jostling is going to continue. Maguire's now getting a little bit of the brunt of it as well. Ronaldo wants some cover from his man as he's just headbutted his own teammate. Ronaldo almost found at the far post. It's behind for a goal kick. Ronaldo, didn't do himself any favours there.
No, a bit of a comedy of errors really. The two, Maguire and Ronaldo, trying to cause problems for their markers, who looked like it was Ronaldo and Savic were both the players tasked with marking them, and in the end when they're both trying to push around the Atletico defenders, they sort of step off them and the two clash heads, and now one's holding the back of the head, Ronaldo's holding his teeth, and it's just a messy free kick to come in, and it's just it just sums up Man United's night at the moment. But they'll be looking to the bench as we can see substitutions coming here to try and change things.
Yeah, it's going to be Elanga to go off. He'll be replaced by Marcus Rashford. The other man on the touchline is Nemanja Matic, and it's going to be interesting to see who departs for him. Scott McTominay, who came back into the side today, leaves the field, so they are both very much like for like. A little bit surprised by the introduction of Matic for McTominay when you've got someone like Pogba. As I say that, Pogba's also coming on to replace Bruno Fernandes, so that one does seemingly make a little bit more sense. Creativity, someone who can score a goal. I guess it's just fresh legs really in the replacement Matic from McTominay, but Rashford as well going to offer some pace and potential to throw it out wide.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, I'm still a little bit surprised that you'd even bring Nemanja Matic on at this time. I think maybe at this point the game is out of your hands, you've got to get back into it. I think I'd just be bringing Pogba on for McTominay and keeping Fernandes on the pitch. As much sort of creative talent and as much as attacking ability as possible on the pitch is what you want, and Matic doesn't really offer that. I mean, I'll say that he'll probably score twice now in the last few minutes, but I'm surprised by it.
Yeah, he's just moved the ball out wide here, Matic, and allowed Dalot to take it over the halfway line. Actually return it to Matic, and it's fizzed out to Rashford for his first touch. Trying to get the beating of Koke, but he's lost the ball and then given away a free kick. So we are midway through this second half. It is finally poised in this second leg Champions League last 16 tie. Manchester United 0, Atletico Madrid 1 on the night. Atleti lead 2-1 on aggregate, and Josh will take you to the whistle.
It's been a tight game. As we said at the start, we were expecting a bit of a tactical battle between the two managers, and at the moment it's the experienced Diego Simeone that's coming out on top with his team 1-0 up, and they've been comfortably in control without any of the ball in this second half, the way they like to have it, just sitting back and making sure that they're occupying the areas that prevent the opposition from attacking, as Fred tries to play a quick pass off to Pogba, and it's then fallen to the feet of João Felix, who gives it to Griezmann, who tries to chip the ball over De Gea. He didn't really have much of an option. He was up top by himself, 3 Manchester United defenders facing up against him, and he tries to spectacular to knock it over the head of De Gea with a lovely little chip, but in the end it goes over the bar, and Manchester United will try and attack from the counter, but it's back with Matic now. But it just shows that if they lose the ball in a dangerous area, there's so much quality in that Atletico team that they can cause problems.
Yeah, exactly, and they've got to keep the back door shut, haven't they? I think this is why Atletico are so good in these types of ties, because they're strong defensively. If they can get the noses in front, a fine counter-attacking side with the two up at the top that can cause so many problems.
Here is one of them, João Felix, and he's tried to hit one from about 40 yards out, and he's completely mishit it, just dragged it, and it's closer to going out for a throw-in than it is to go out for a corner, but it has gone out for a goal kick. It has gone out for a goal kick at the end, and De Gea throws it straight out to Fred. But João Felix trying something that, I mean, probably would have been one of the best Champions League goals I've ever seen if it had gone in, but in the end probably one of the worst Champions League efforts I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a lot of risk, isn't it, with very little reward in the end for him. I can see his thinking, if De Gea's off his line and he's got his head up there, a long way to run, why not have a pop, I suppose. But his manager, Simeone, I don't think will be too happy with that. It's a case of try and keep the ball if you can. You're 1-0 up, there's still 20 minutes to go, and you don't want to be gifting possession back to United that cheaply.
Yeah, as we just see on our screens, the stats of 64% possession in this game for Manchester United. That's the way it tends to be with Atletico Madrid. Their opponents have most of the ball, they're happy to sit off. We've said it all night, and if they've been able to play exactly how they've wanted to so far, as Matic does find Fred, pressure behind him from Griezmann, who manages to do enough to put off the pass that then can't find Pogba, and Atletico get it back, and it'll be João Felix down the left hand side facing up against Varane. He's got 3 Manchester United players around him. In the end he manages to find a pass into the middle to Rodrigo de Paul, and then comes back, and Atletico will hold it in their own half defensively, and it looked like a promising attack, has ended up just Atletico holding onto the ball for a bit. Like you say, it doesn't, just because they don't like having possession all the time doesn't mean they shouldn't keep hold of it when they get the opportunity. They've given it away cheaply there to Harry Maguire, who finds Rashford trying to play through a ball to Cristiano Ronaldo, but Ronaldo is the one that gets in the way to prevent the Portuguese powerhouse getting through and having an opportunity on goal, but the clearance is only as far as Nemanja Matic. He gives it to Fred in the middle of the park. Crossed wide to the near side of Alex Telles. He shifts it even further wide to Jadon Sancho, who's facing up against Llorente, who, like you say, is defended well. A bit of a misplaced pass as Fred can't get hold of it, and in the end it looked like it was going to go to João Felix. Varane manages to just nick inside of the ball and get there first, and then he gets another touch on it, and Herrera comes sliding in to take down the French centre-back in a dangerous position for a free kick for Manchester United.
Yeah, it really is, and I don't think he needed to dive in there, really. Varane coming forwards, Herrera thinks he sees enough of that ball, but Varane able just to nick it away and get the free kick then at a really good spot for Manchester United. It's probably out of shooting range even for someone of Ronaldo's quality, but with the opportunity to whip this one far post and get some sort of knockdown, maybe even an effort straight on goal from the head, it's something, a headache that Atleti don't need.
Yeah, it will definitely not be Ronaldo's range, because he's not stepping up to take it. He's on the far side of the box awaiting a header. He's next to Harry Maguire, the two marked by the same players as before. Hopefully no bump of head this time. It'll be Alex Telles that will take it. He's going to float it over the top, and it's Ronaldo that tries to come to it, but Jan Oblak's first out there and manages to get there just before Ronaldo, who doesn't look happy that the ball's not landed on his head, and Oblak's saying that there was a little bit of contact between him and Ronaldo, and in the end the referee just stops play to make sure that the Atleti goalkeeper is okay, and it was a dangerous ball, but alert goalkeeping by Oblak.
Yeah, comes out and reads it really well, top quality goalkeeper, and he's not afraid to come and get himself in a crowd of from Atleti now, any chance they get, trying to run that clock down.
you need a goal in your Manchester United, you can look to the bench, and they will be again after already making those 3 substitutions just moments ago. We can see on our pitches Edinson Cavani is getting ready to come on the pitch. We'll await confirmation of who that's going to be for us. Harry Maguire has the ball in the back for him, shifts it right across with a crossfield pass over the other side to Dalot to Varane, and just passing it around the back patiently, Manchester United. But the midfield are starting to push up a little bit more aggressively when they do have the ball in the back there, trying to force the centre-backs to bring it forward a little bit quicker. Ronaldo, who shifted over to the left-hand side now instead of staying wider right, which is where we'd seen him for most of this second half, but in the end he just has to pass it straight back, and it goes all the way back to De Gea. Around once more, he'll be carrying the ball and looks for a long ball over the top, shifting it wide to Alex Telles, who's got a great little touch to keep it down, then crosses the ball in, and it was aimed for Ronaldo, but Jimenez is first to the ball to knock it away, and it's only gone as far as Fred, and they're deemed to be a free kick inside the box though, and it's going to be stoppage in play, and the Man United players, especially Alex Telles, look fuming as the free kick for Llorente, who has gone down in a heap inside the box, and it looks like the medics might be called on. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Manchester United players fuming that the game has been stopped for what deemed to be sort of not much of a foul. Yeah, and I don't think he's even given a free kick here, the referee, or he didn't appear to in the first instance. There was sort of maybe a bit of a coming together after the 2 players landed on the floor, and yeah, he's going to restart from a drop ball here. So he's decided to stop the play because someone was down holding their ankle, which is not necessary. That's not why the game needs to be stopped unless it's a head injury. And again, it comes back to some really poor officiating that we've seen tonight, and United can understandably feel aggrieved. Yeah, absolutely. As we get confirmation of that substitution, it will be Fred that comes off, and Edinson Cavani will enter the pitch. So definitely an attacking lineup now, and I think maybe that makes a little bit more sense as to why the Matic substitution happened earlier now, because they've really only one defensive midfielder, and then just creativity and goals in the other midfielders and attackers of Sancho, Pogba, Cavani, Ronaldo and Rashford, and that will be their aim now with just 15 remaining minutes in this game, as Rashford is taken down far out once more, and it's they're getting frustrated, Manchester United now. I don't think actually really that I was sort of hinting earlier that they've become frustrated with the fact that they weren't being able to score, but they're getting frustrated with the officiating, because almost every time they've got the ball they're just getting taken down. Yeah, and that's the way Atletico play their game. I think you need to know that that's the type of match that you're in for when you're up against them. They would have known it was going to be a tough test over 2 legs, and it's proven that way. It absolutely has, and the free kick will be on the far side, about 40 yards out, plenty of height in the box. Ronaldo talking to the other players in the box, telling them what he wants them to do. He'll be the one that's trying to get his head on this, and it's once more Alex Telles that will bring it in, and it comes off the head of Varane, and it's a fantastic save by Oblak, and then Cristiano Ronaldo with an overhead kick that Jan Oblak almost catches in one hand. I mean, it would have been a special goal, a classic Cristiano Ronaldo Champions League goal, and the cross initially from Telles is fantastic. It looked like it was going to be a goal off the head of Rafael Varane. A fantastic first save by Jan Oblak, and then it just comes straight down to Ronaldo, who manages to flick himself over onto his back with an overhead kick, but a simple save from the overhead kick from Jan Oblak. Yeah, it's great goalkeeping, isn't it? To make that first save with one arm, get up quickly, and then, as you say, just plucked it out the air, didn't he? As though it was a little floated ball in his direction, but it was dangerous, and Oblak proving his worth. Yeah, absolutely. As Atletico tried to just break through the lines of Manchester United there, but good defending, and that could be what Man U need at this point in the game. Just free kicks, they know they're going to get them from Atletico, and with the talent they've got in the air of Maguire and Ronaldo and Rafael Varane, and even Marcus Rashford and Pogba are very good in the air, so that they might be waiting, Matic too, they might be waiting for those sorts of opportunities to just try and float it, as they really push every single one of their players into the Madrid half, other than David De Gea obviously, and now Paul Pogba deep into their half, passes it across to Matic. Bit of pressure from João Felix, but they're happy to sit off at the moment, Atletico. Dalot to Rashford on the far right hand side, Rashford back to Matic. Matic gets his head up and plays it across to captain Harry Maguire. A bit of an interplay between Sancho and Pogba, then straight back to Maguire, goes back to Pogba, trying to break the lines, Manchester United. Pogba to Sancho. Sancho to the left-hand side of Telles. He's got lots of pressure and a bit of attention from Griezmann. Manages to sweep him off him. Llorente gets his body in the way and seems to have shoved Alex Telles down. And the referee once more does not see it as a free kick to Manchester United. And Atletico have a real chance to attack here, as Griezmann's got João Felix running to his left-hand side, could play a long ball over the top. He looked to do it, but instead turned back as the Manchester United defenders get away. But it's still Griezmann with the ball. He then finds the ball and he sweeps the ball across the face of goal, and De Gea doesn't come out to get it. And in the end, Renan Lodi's on the other side to just collect the ball, and Atletico will still have an opportunity. And João Felix slips and seems to have hurt himself, but no sympathy from Matic as he comes away with the ball. Cavani now, a chance for Manchester United to counter-attack. He gives it to Ronaldo on the right-hand side, who tries to just take it past Ronaldo, and in the end he's not quite done enough to just knock it past him and get round him, which was what he was trying to do. And Atletico have the ball and they'll calm down play a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what they need right now, because the game had just opened up a little bit there at both ends, and although Atleti had created a sort of half chance from it, they need to make sure that they're just keeping a tight grip on this match, not allowing it to become a basketball type game. Looks as though Koke, who's back in the side recently, is going to be pulled off here. His night is done and dusted. Captain's armband handed over, and warm reception from those travelling Atleti fans.
Yeah, he looks tired, Koke, as he makes his way off the pitch. A little bit of a limp about them. Never know in the current games whether that limp is just to sort of make it seem like he's not being subbed off because he's tired, or if he's not being subbed off for anything else. But he hands the captain's armband to goalkeeper Oblak, who will be the captain of Atletico Madrid for the remaining 10 minutes of this game. As he see on our pictures, he's clapping those away fans for Atletico, and the substitution will be made, and it looks like it's going to be Jeffrey Kondogbia that comes on. So a defensive substitution for Atletico as they try and hold on to this slender lead they've got. It's 2-1 on aggregate, 1-0 on the evening, and a free kick given to Atletico, and they've almost resigned to the fact that no decision is going to go their way now, Manchester United, as João Felix is down on the floor holding his head, and maybe a little bit of a problem here. I think maybe he's trying to say he was being hit, and a little bit of a feisty conversation going on in the middle of the pitch as Matic has a few choice words with Kondogbia, who's just come on, and a few other Atletico players, and the referee will call Matic over to calm down the situation. Just seeing what happened, Felix goes down, he writhing on the floor in what seems to be a lot of pain, and then the ball just sort of accidentally hits Felix, and he goes a little bit mad about it, and then Herrera and Matic exchange words over the matter.
Yeah, Matic's going to get a yellow card for throwing the ball in the direction of Felix and catching him on the head in the process. Not really what he was brought on to do, I suppose. Not expected to do a huge amount of defensive work, with Atleti doing their own
1-0 to Benfica in the other Champions League tie this evening. It's Nunez that has scored for Benfica, which means they are 1-0 up away from home.
3-2 up on aggregate.
Ajax probably favourites in that game, given with the tournament's top goal scorer, but it's not them that lead there, and it's Atletico that lead here with a free kick on that left-hand side. They're trying to play the ball straight to in the middle, and then Kondogbia comes in at the edge of the box, and he's got hit on his left foot, but it's one of those ones where he's got very little space in front of him, so he's just lashed his leg at it, and it's gone flying over the crossbar into the crowd at Old Trafford. Yeah,
definitely not what he was brought on to do, score goals, but found himself arriving onto that bouncing ball on the edge of the box, and as you say, didn't really have much else on. It was worth a swing, see what happens, and blazed over the crossbar.
Don't forget, it was an early João Felix goal that was ruled to be unimportant after an Elanga late equaliser in the first leg. Can Manchester United get a late equaliser in this second leg to take it through to extra time, as they try and claim they've got a corner, and they do get it. Jadon Sancho wins a corner up against Savic, and Manchester United will hope that they can use this sort of situation, as we spoke about before, the height they've got in the box. These are the places where you can take advantage of Atletico, because they can't use that block, and they're all lining up. Every single tall player seems to be in there, and it's a bit of a battle, as you can see shirts being pulled as the cross finally comes in from Tellez. It's headed away, but only as far as Dalot, who goes for goal from distance, and it just goes wide of the post. Oblak had it covered at his post, but probably would have been better shifting the ball into the box over the air. But Dalot goes for goal, goes for glory, and it's about 2 feet wide in the end. Ronaldo unhappy that that's gone in as a shot.
Yeah, I think, as you said, probably better options on. He's had a couple of shots tonight already, Dalot, with varying success. So we're going to see another change from United, and, well, the captain, Harry Maguire, he's not going to see this one through.
Yeah, I mean, this is seriously throwing everything at it and trying to play as an attacking formation as possible, as the lesser seen Juan Mata enters the pitch and comes on for the captain, Harry Maguire, and they've just got attacking players on the pitch now, essentially, Manchester United. Yeah. You'd say the only out-and-out defender they have on the pitch now is Rafael Varane, and even he's got a real talent for goal when it comes to set pieces, so they're throwing everything they possibly can at this game with just 7 minutes remaining of regulation time. The score's still 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. Diego Dallo shifts it wide to Marcus Rashford, who tries to play a 1-2 with Pogba, but it's misplaced. Kondogbia ends up with the ball, and it comes to Ronaldo, who tried to play a quick ball out, but Manchester United win it back just again inside their half with a throw-in, and Mata plays the ball back to Varane. Varane carrying it forward. He's got plenty of work to do as the only centre-back on the pitch for Manchester United now, and he's looking like almost a quarterback role every time he gets that, trying to find the forward runs of someone, and it's Rashford on the right-hand side who does have it now. Mata inside, shapes it onto his left foot, tries to play a ball through to Ronaldo. In the end, it's headed away by Savic. Felix then wins the return header, but Cavani straight onto Griezmann, and they win it back with a bit of pressure with Mata. Mata to Sancho. Sancho gets the right side of... Well, I thought he got the right side of Llorente, but in the end it's deemed to be a free kick. Llorente supposedly pushed Sancho, and Mata will have a free kick about 35 yards out, but he's passed it straight back to Telles, who plays it short to Mata. He can try and shift the ball in. Run out from Herrera allows a dummy shot from Mata, and now it's gone wide to Sancho. Sancho tries to put a cross in, but Griezmann does enough to get his foot in to stop that cross from coming in. Griezmann then involved once again, trying to nod the ball through to Felix, who tries to put pressure on Varane. Varane calmly gets the ball back to David De Gea, and with 5 minutes to go, what do Manchester United need to do to get a goal? They've got so many attacking players, so many creative players on the pitch. How can they break this defensive block from Atletico?
It's using the width, isn't it, as much as possible. Overlaps, trying to get players in those channels. We see that they double up as often as possible. Griezmann getting back in to support Llorente and closing off the likes of Sancho, but United have got to get 2 or 3 bodies out there to try and play through them with the triangles. Deliveries into the box is the best route now.
And it's Mata that tries to deliver one in towards Cavani here, and once again it's headed away by that defensive unit for Atletico. Dallo to Ronaldo. Ronaldo shifts it wide to the right-hand side to Rashford, and he can't quite get his pass past the defenders, and now there's another opportunity for an attack here from Atletico Madrid, and in the end Dallo takes the hit, and he's going to pick up a yellow card for this. It has to be a yellow card because he's just taken down Renan Lodi, who was really moving into a pretty dangerous position, looking like he was going to be able to looking like he was going to be able to cause all sorts of problems for Manchester United, and that's just one of those tackles that you have to make. You have to make a foul in that position to keep your side in the game.
Yeah, you do, and there's going to be more of that from United now. They've made the changes, as you rightly pointed out. Only one centre-back left on the pitch in Varane, so the holder in Matic and the full-backs, when they can get into those areas, are going to have to commit fouls just to break up the players as much as possible and take the cards, take one for the team.
Yeah, and the free kick was drifted towards Alex Telles, who managed to just clear it away for Manchester United, and they'll try and press as they've lost the ball once more. Jimenez plays it out wide. It is once more Renan Lodi, who's running forward, and he looks so dangerous every time he gets the ball, and this time Paul Pogba deemed to have brought down the pacey Atletico player, who's fallen to the floor, and he'll take all the time in the world to get up. He still sits down and tries to waste as much time as possible, as there will be one more change for Atletico, and it's going to be Felipe who's coming on. We still await to see who's going to be coming on for, as the referee has not yet stopped the game. He's going to allow this free kick to be taken. Doesn't seem they're in any rush to make that substitution. It might just be one of those to try and run the clock down, and once more the free kick, a target Antoine Griezmann, but Alex Telles is the one who gets in the way, and then Sancho trying to back heel in a dangerous area, and he's giving the ball straight away again, and Llorente on the right hand side then gives it away to Sancho with a chance to try and break forward, and once more they just win the ball back in great areas. Hector Herrera does so, gives it to Kondogbia, and now back to Herrera under a bit of attention from Paul Pogba. Kondogbia does well to shake off Cavani, and they're in tight areas now, Atletico, and finally get out of it with a long crossfield ball over to that left hand side where Renan Lodi has it, and he's gone down in a heap on the right-hand side. Diego Dallo believed to be an arm maybe from Lodi, but the referee's not stopped the play, and Lodi's in a dangerous position. He's one-on-one with Matic here, and he's tried to play a ball into the box. Matic then gets a deflection. It looked like it was going to go out for a corner. Everyone stops as if it had done, except from Rafael Varane, who realises it stayed in play and hits the ball away, and then it looks like the linesman has decided that actually it was a goal kick and play will be stopped now, as we get a second glance at that Diego Dallo going down to the floor from Lodi's arm, but it doesn't look like it was much. And then a yellow card given to Darren Fletcher. The sporting director, the head of football at Manchester United, is going to get a yellow card.
I think he's complaining because obviously that we've just seen that incident, and I don't think there is much in it, but a player's gone down holding his head and the referee has then allowed play to go on. When we saw that at the other end and an Atleti player went down holding his foot, the referee decided with United on the attack, I'm going to stop play here and we'll restart from a drop ball. So he's been all over the... I think it's been a terrible performance tonight from the official. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not involved in the next round of the Champions League, because he's not really had any control on this. He's not been living up to expectations that you expect at this level.
No, not had the greatest of games, the referee, and it's Felipe who does finally come on, and it is for João Felix in the end. And now the game stopped for what's looking like could be a head injury, as collapsed in a heap on the floor. We see Hector Herrera. He's gone down under bit of a challenge from Paul Pogba, and it is because an arm has hit the head, and I tell you what, Darren Fletcher will be fuming on the sideline seeing that the game's being stopped for it now, as we move into past the 90-minute mark and find out how much added time there will be, confirmed by the fourth official, who I'm sure is being harrowed at by Darren Fletcher at this moment in time. Like you say, it's not been the best of performances from the referee today. He's Slovenian international Slavko Vincic, and we saw him at the Euros, only managed to referee 2 games at the Euros, obviously not deemed good enough to go through into those knockout stages for Euro 2020. As confirmation of 4 minutes of added time, we get 90 minutes have passed, and Manchester United have so much to do with so little time now. All they need is a goal to take it through to extra time, and Nemanja Matic will carry the ball forward, play a long ball wide, switching play to Marcus Rashford, who jumps up and heads it well down to Diego Dallo, but he can't quite get on the end of it as Griezmann nips it in front of him and plays it back to Lodi. Lodi's got loads of space to run into, but he's got 5 or 6 Manchester United players waiting for him, and Matic is the one that tries to bring him down. Pogba then comes in with a sliding tackle and wins it back for Manchester United. Rashford down the right-hand side. Little 1-2 with Mata. No, Mata's brought down in the end, and it will be a free kick to Manchester United in the dangerous area, and he looked to maybe take it quickly, and if I was Ralf Rangnick, I'd be screaming from the sideline saying, no, don't take it quickly. Everyone in the box. This is probably last chance saloon.
Exactly that. Make sure that the delivery's right. Don't allow the adrenaline to take control and just misplace the pass or play it short and not take full advantage. You've got plenty of height on the pitch now. Get this ball into the box. Try and get yourself that goal to force extra time.
It's Alex Telles once again who plays it in, but it's so much power on the free kick. It's not being the first man, and Manchester United players are absolutely fuming with the referee, who's deemed it to be a free kick against Manchester United. It looked like there was a little bit of tussling in the box, and in the end an Atletico player goes down on the floor in the free kick given, and it's just played right into the hands of Atletico Madrid. They want this game to slow down. They want it to be a stop-start pace. They don't want Manchester United to have any sort of fluid time on the ball. As we see one more change for Atletico, it's Antoine Griezmann that's going to be leaving the pitch, and it's going to be Correa who is coming on for him. And it just shows that they're so happy to just waste the time that there is left in this game, Atletico Madrid. And Griezmann, who's been absolutely fantastic today, he's been defensively strong, he's been good going forward, he's had a great partnership with João Felix up the top, as there's just 1.5 minutes of added time remaining in this game. There's so much for Manchester United to do, and it's just so hard to beat any team with this little time left, or score against any team with this little time left, but especially against Diego Simeone, Atletico Madrid side, as they try and get the ball away, Manchester United, and it'll be a throw-in to Atletico Madrid just around about the 18-yard box line on the far side for Atletico, and they'll just try and waste time here. And I tell you what, Manchester United are wasting their own time, just sort of throwing the ball away with 1 minute remaining, and it's slow snail play stuff from Atletico.